Welcome to the A Monday Moment with Dr. Mal podcast, where each week I, Dr. Mal, share life lessons and motivation to kickstart your Monday. Whether you're starting your day or winding down, join me or me and my future guest for a burst of positivity and a fresh perspective. Let's make Mondays meaningful together. Greetings and happy Monday, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Mallory D. McCoy, and welcome to this week's episode of A Monday Moment with Dr. Mal. As always, may this broadcast bring you what you need in the present moment. May my light exude positivity and kindness, and may my love be extended to all who could use a little extra. Ashe. Let's seize the moment. You know, every episode I start off with just expressing my gratitude. And as always, I'm forever grateful and I continue to bathe in a sea of gratitude every day. My family is healthy, wealthy in all the ways, and happy. I'm healthy, abundant, and happy in all the ways. And even the small chaos that continues to embed itself in the everyday is easily transmuted into fuel I can use to usher in joy. I have simply loved and enjoyed watching my son be joyful. And so sometimes we have to find gratitude and joy where we can find it. And so internally grateful for that. I'm also thankful for the opportunity to get a chance to teach at the upcoming podcast summit for the Alive Podcast Network next week. I'm super excited about this. A week in Long Beach, sign me up, coach. Okay, I'm already signed up. Anyway, my flight and accommodations have been booked, and I'm looking forward to taking over Long Beach, California, and making beautiful connections with people at the summit and people outside of the summit. I've been on Eventbrite and found some activities that I plan to get myself into. And I just plan to sit by the sea and I plan to journal and just have fun, because what is life without fun, right? I'm also grateful for the million kisses that I get from my son every day. I'm grateful for the time that I have to get those kisses. It's such a luxury to be in the space that I'm in right now. And I don't take it for granted, but particularly with my son, he's grabbing my face and he's kissing my cheek. And sometimes I get overstimulated and I don't want the kisses. And when I express that I've overstimulated, then his feelings get hurt. And so I have to make sure to assure him that I'm not pushing him away. I just need my space for a second, but I still love it. I really do love it. And I got a couple of pimples to prove it, because when he grabs my face, sometimes he got boy hands. So sometimes they aren't the cleanest, but I'm grateful even for these pimples that came from my son grabbing my face to give me kisses. What a gift. I'm also grateful because recently I sold my car, and that was one of the things that was kind of weighing on me as I transitioned to St. Louis, because I'm transitioning out of country and I needed to sell my car. So I'm relieved because there was a guy, he is Mexican actually. So when I connected and realized that he is Mexican, we had some banter back and forth in Spanish, because I'm learning my Spanish too. And he's just so cool. I got to learn about him. He got to learn about me and what I'm doing. He's a beautiful person. His family was beautiful. They even came over one day and I got to meet his wife and 2 children. And so we're forever connected over a car that I sold. I have a whole new family over a car. So I'm grateful for that. Also excited because today, the day that the episode releases, I have a distant Reiki healing session with my Facebook friend, Corey. We connected on Facebook somehow. I don't even know how, you know how that happens. You don't even know how you connect with people, but you do. Anyway, she does healing work like I do, but I'm going to learn from her because she's like 10 million more years in the game. And she currently lives in Mexico. She lives in Playa del Carmen. So I'm excited to not only receive a healing session from her, but I'm also excited to connect with her about Mexico. And if you are unfamiliar with Reiki, Reiki is actually a Japanese form of energy healing. You can be in person with a person, or you can be remote, just as Corey is going to be with me, but you're channeling the energy of that person and using it. If you think this is like a little woo-woo, we actually do this a lot. People siphon our energy if we choose to allow to share energy with them. And sometimes it can be for positivity and sometimes it cannot. So for this particular instance, it's positivity because the intention is to use your energy to help to clear whatever energy blocks you have in your body. So I'm really excited to not only connect with her, but also heal myself through energy and frequency. So I'm talking about today, frequency is the medicine, and this is exactly what I'm doing. So beautiful alignment. And on that note, with this, I'm one step closer to moving to Mexico in my new life. Like November is right around the corner. It's this weekend. I'll have an episode about my transition to Mexico. Look for that to release on Monday, November 24th, 2025, right before I transition to Mexico. So let's get into it. This is episode 4 of a 5-part series that I'm doing on healing. And today's topic is what I just said. We're talking about something that changed not just the way I move through life, but how I understand people, relationships, and energy. Hence, today's show is titled Frequency is the Medicine. And as you know, and as I've expressed before, I've been unapologetically walking y'all through my healing journey because it's raw, it's real, and sometimes I've used the unconventional. My methods of healing are not healing methods that people are naturally seeking out. I'm using sound bowls, I'm in solitude, lots of solitude, and I'm just surrendering to the flow of my life. Sometimes when you're healing, you're also realizing that you're not broken, you're just outgrowing a frequency that you've lived in before, a former version of yourself has grown accustomed to, that you no longer can be accustomed to anymore because it doesn't fit the frequency that you're on. So, you know, I love me a good definition, and I'm team hashtag facts over feelings. So let's get into it. Did you know that everything in existence, from your heartbeat to your favorite song, from water to Wi-Fi, is made of vibration? And I talked about vibration in my first episode of this series, Sound is the Medicine. Sound is a vibration, but everything else is a vibration too. Every atom in your body is constantly moving, oscillating, and sending out an energetic frequency. And according to researchers at HeartMath Institute, your heart actually produces the largest electromagnetic field in your body, even stronger than your brain. The heart field extends about 3 to 4 feet outside of you, which means your energy walks into a room before you do. And we know this. I have been in many rooms where you can feel people rolling up even before they come up. If they try to sneak up behind you, you can feel them. That's because their energy is leading them before you even see them. Okay. And that's why when you have entered a room with people that have been arguing with each other, you can feel what that feels like. I know, look, I've been guilty of the one arguing, and I've been guilty of walking in when people have argued or when people have talked about you. They done pulled your energy into the room and you weren't even in the room, but you walked in and you're like, oh, you were talking about me, because you feel the energy shift. So in quantum physics, this is called resonance. When two energies vibrating at similar frequencies begin to harmonize, or they aren't harmonizing. We call that in the music world cacophony. There's cacophony or dissonance, and so there's no harmony. And that's why you instantly click with some folks and feel drained by others. Scientist Dr. David R. Hawkins mapped a scale of consciousness showing how different emotions vibrate. So if you feel shame, shame actually vibrates at 20 hertz. If you have guilt, guilt vibrates at 30 hertz. If you have fear, fear vibrates at 100 hertz. Courage vibrates at 200 hertz. Love vibrates at 500 hertz. Peace vibrates at 600 hertz. And when you're enlightened, that actually vibrates 700 to 1,000 hertz. So when people say raise your vibration They're really saying raise your state of consciousness, choose thoughts, foods, and environments that make you feel lighter and more aligned with peace. I just talked about this in my last episode. What you eat matters. Fresh fruit, vegetables, herbs, and water rich foods vibrate between 60 and 90 hertz, while processed foods often drop below 20 hertz. So when you nourish yourself with living foods, you're literally raising your internal frequency. Sound is vibration too. We talked about it. Modern music is tuned to 440 hertz, but ancient sound healers use 432 hertz. And 432 hertz is actually the frequency that resonates with the Earth's natural frequency, also known as the Schumann resonance. So that vibration has a calming, heart opening effect on the body. Even water responds to frequency. Scientist Dr. Emoto showed in a video, I actually put this in a podcast before, that water molecules form beautiful symmetrical crystals when exposed to love and gratitude, and distorted ones when exposed to hate or anger. Considering your body is 60 to 70% water, imagine what your own thoughts and words are doing inside of you. So when people talk about high vibrational or low vibrational energy, that's not just spiritual talk. That's science meeting spirit. High vibration feels like joy, creativity, compassion, authenticity, which is the highest frequency, and flow. Low vibration feels like fear, jealousy, burnout, or self doubt. But here's the good news. Your frequency is not fixed. Nobody's stuck to a frequency. You can retune yourself every single day through breath, rest, gratitude, music, nature, and love. Genuine love, love rooted in compassion for others and healing yourself and other versions of you who may have missed out on receiving the love that they so desire. So that's why I say, frequency is the medicine, because everything you experience, from the food you eat to the thoughts you think, is either healing you or depleting you. You know the old saying, birds of a feather flock together? It's an old adage. What if I told you it's less about the birds and more about the vibration? We attract what we are, not what we say we want. That's the law of attraction. But I learned that lesson the hard way, especially on dating apps. Because, baby, let me tell you, what we doing out here? It's wild. When I first got on these apps, and actually, I got on these apps in 2020. If you want to know the story, you got to go back in some podcasts, because I've talked about this a few times. But anyway, when I first got on these apps, I thought, okay, maybe it's my person somewhere in this digital pool. So I thought. But I learned quickly that those apps are designed like games. Match, dopamine hit because you got excited about something that you read about somebody. It's more slot machine than sacred connection, because when you're in such a gamified space, you're not actually attracting someone, you're chasing, performing, comparing, scrolling. And when you're the one that's outputting the energy, you're selling yourself, when that's not our natural way. Too many people are looking outside of themselves for something that they can only find within. You cannot attract peace from chaos. You cannot attract love from lack. And you cannot manifest joy while living in jealousy. And frequency does not lie. Men lie, women lie, but frequency don't lie. You can post all the affirmations, have all the sage to clean your whole house, but if your energy, your own energy, isn't right, it's going to show. It's going to show yourself. It's going to show your person. You can literally see how energy moves in people. Raising your frequency isn't about pretending to be positive vibes only, because that's toxic positivity. It's about being real, feeling your feelings, setting boundaries, baby, hard boundaries, doing your inner work, so that your energy becomes magnetic, not manic, and then you can attract that which you already are. That's how we do it. So, how do you strengthen your frequency? Well, first, start with holistic nutrition, what you eat, what you drink, what you think, all the dimensions of wellness I talked about in my last podcast. Balance those. Balance is key. Balance is key to everything. It's not hyper focus on one thing or hyper focus on the other thing. Create a balance within yourself. Then add rest, hydration, nature, sound, movement, prayer, or meditation, however you get it in, breath work, and gratitude. Each of those are components of medicine to help to strengthen your frequency. Now, I know some of y'all are wondering what happens when someone you love has a low frequency or someone that you love is not matching your frequency. And I could speak to that because this one hurts. When I literally started on a healing path and my frequency started changing, then I started losing people in my life. And I wouldn't say losing. Let me retract that. I didn't lose the people in my life. They just naturally fell away. And the energy that I'm vibrating couldn't hold the energy that I was comfortable in, if that makes sense. And so it was hurtful, completely hurtful, but it was necessary because you cannot save people from their own frequency. You can love them through it, but you don't have to lower yourself to meet them there. Some folks aren't bad people. They're just tuned into a different station. So your job is to stay in tune with yourself and keep your own self aligned because you are the co-creator of your life. The melody of your life is written in the frequency that you carry. And so to bring this point home, let me share something deeply personal. And this has to do with my baby, my son. Raymond has taught me more about energy than any book, class, or certification could ever. Because of his astrological programming and just how his soul chose to incarnate, he is highly tuned into frequency, like highly tuned. Feeling is his biggest sense. From the time that he was a baby, I noticed that if he would cry around certain people or he acted agitated or he would pull me to leave a room, that it wasn't random. He was feeling the energy of that space, and the energy that was in that space wasn't an energy that I was even bringing to him. And so through that, he helped me to see energy. He helped me to not only see it, but also to feel it in my body because I have always been, people would say it was gullible, but I have always been a person who has always erred on the side of positivity. Like everything is always sunny side up. And so through that lens, I would often miss how people actually are. I would put them in an energy space of how I wanted to experience them or even change my frequency to experience them. But with my son, and he's so literal. He's Capricorn energy, Capricorn Virgo energy. Since his spirit can feel what mine had learned to ignore and the mask that I put on in my neurospicy self, his energy stripped me from that. And our new enlightenment, you have to go back a few podcasts, and this still gives me chills, and I'm still blown by it every day. He's telepathic. And to be telepathic, you have to be able to tune into people's frequency. And he's actually tuned into my frequency more than I'm tuned into his frequency. And he actually can dictate what I do through telepathy. I know that sounds wild. It's still wild to me, but it's my lived everyday experience. And so, when people around me would be like, well, how do you know what he needs? Or how do you know what, is wrong? I'm like, I don't know. I just know. I cannot explain it. I just know. And now I know that is through his energy. That's through his telepathy. That's through him and his resonance. Before I was tuned into him, I would do a lot of troubleshooting. I never knew if he was hungry, overstimulated, or anxious. But now I know so much more. And he doesn't have words. He's non-speaking. So he communicates through frequency. He communicates through resonance. And so I'm thankful that our connection goes beyond words, because now I'm able to connect with others beyond words. And even as I move into a space where the language that I'm going to need to use is not fully developed, I'm getting there, but I'm not fully developed, I know that I will still be able to communicate because frequency is what I use primarily with my son. And so I'm thankful and grateful for him to be able to teach me a different way to communicate. Communication isn't just spoken, it's energetic. Our bodies, our breath, our emotions, they're all transmitters. And my son's unfiltered energy helps me continually remember what my soul forgot, but now knows. We are born, all born with this ability. We just learn to block it as adults or even kids. I know that there's some parts of my childhood where my light was muted, my spirit was dimmed. And so I just carried that on into adulthood and in turn became overstimulated and in survival mode most of the time. So I'm thankful to no longer function like that and that I'm more regulated. But that all comes with being in tune with your energy and your frequency. I know when I was in a teaching space, for example, I had to suppress my sensitivity to get through that life. And then when I would come home, I would be so exhausted from blocking that energy all day. Not only physically tired, because singing and talking all day is physically taxing, but I would be spiritually depleted too. And so now, since I've been 3 years removed from that space full time, I now understand that I was absorbing the energy of hundreds of souls every day. Some of them were given to me directly, but some of them were not. Some of them were just simply existing and giving me their energy. And I love kids and I sometimes miss it, but I don't miss that much energy exchange on my soul every day. So when I say that frequency is the medicine, I really mean that. And I mean it from the experience that I've had with my son and my own wisdom and walking through a space where I had to put myself aside for the mission, but now I'm putting myself in front of the mission. It just feels different. It feels different. And so I am calling for you to do the same. This week, my call to action is for you to do a frequency audit of your environment. Here are the questions you're going to ask yourself. What am I consuming that lowers my frequency? TV shows, music, people, etc., food, all the things. Who drains me instead of fills me? Just think in your Rolodex right now, people, when you get on the phone or you're in person with them, you're exhausted when you talk to them. Or vice versa. They fill you up. Who's draining you? Who's filling you? Take an audit of that. And then where in my life do I feel anxious or heavy instead of peaceful and free? Where? I decided that I no longer want to be in Missouri. I don't like living in Missouri. The weather is not good here. It doesn't align with a space where I feel peaceful and free. But you know where I feel most peaceful and free? In warm climates, in sand, in sun, with a breeze on my face. So we get to make those decisions, right? Make one small change. You don't have to leap into the abyss, into the unknown, as I've decided to do. I'm generally a Band-Aid ripper. I don't take the Band-Aid off slow. I just go, rip. Thanks, Sagittarius rising. Anyway, you can decide to make one small change. If you're in the dating world, maybe you can decide to delete all the dating apps like I did. My person is going to vibrate to me. I'm not going to go look for anybody. They're going to match my frequency because of who I am. Maybe you start your morning with gratitude instead of scrolling. I just speak like 3 things that I'm grateful for into the air or in my head, whichever one comes out first. But every rise, I start with gratitude. Maybe you play music that lifts you instead of numbs you, that elevates you instead of brings you down. Small shifts can lead to massive vibrational upgrades. The medicine is never outside of you. Everything that you need is always within you. So Before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a quote and 10 affirmations to carry in your spirit this week. The quote that I have chosen for this episode is by Panache Desai. Probably butchering that, but that's okay. It perfectly captures this week's message. When your energy vibrates at a frequency that is within direct alignment to what the universe has been attempting to deliver your entire life, you begin to live in the flow and true miracles start to happen. 110%. Let that sink in. Rub that in like lotion on your body. You don't chase miracles, you match them. And for my 10 affirmations, you can repeat after me or just let these flow into your subconscious. My energy introduces me before I speak. I attract what aligns with my highest frequency. I am a magnet for peace, love, and abundance. I am in tune with the vibration of divine alignment. My frequency is my protection. I release all energy that does not serve my highest good. My heart radiates healing energy everywhere I go. I honor my emotions as sacred messengers. I love that one. I vibrate at the frequency of gratitude and joy, and I am the medicine. Say it. I am the medicine. Yes, you are. Family, thank you so much for spending this sacred moment with me. I hope today reminded you that your healing does not have to look like anyone else's. Whether it's through sound, stillness, or self discovery, your energy always knows what to do. You just have to give it permission to flow. And remember, you are an energetic being having a human experience. Soul first, body second. So protect your peace, speak your truth, and vibrate higher every day. Love yourself enough to recalibrate. Feed your soul good energy and let gratitude guide your every choice. And speaking of the body and energy, my next and final episode in this healing series is titled The Body is the Medicine. We're going to explore how trauma lives in the body, how movement can be a portal to healing, and how somatic practices release what words cannot. Trust me, you do not want to miss this one. Until then, love and peace to all of you. Have the best week. Thank you for tuning in for a Monday Moment with Dr. Mal, now proudly a part of the Alive Podcast Network. You can find this show on the Live Podcast Network website and app, and you can find this podcast streaming across your favorite podcast streaming platforms. If you love to have the visual, you can tune into my YouTube channel, When Mallory Lives, to see this show and catch up on all my shows from the beginning.